a federal kill switch mandate, which means that all cars manufactured starting in 2026 will now have a way for authorities to monitor your driving and then cut power to your car.
Here's why you need to think twice before you purchase a 2027 model or later vehicle manufactured in the United States.
Now, we briefly touched on this next story last night, but it was so enraging that I thought it deserved a longer conversation.
It's so incredible that I have to offer this amendment. It almost sounds like the domain of science fiction, that the federal government would put a kill switch in vehicles that would be the judge, the jury, and the executioner on such a fundamental right as the right to travel freely.
This is very disconcerting, and it is the reason why, if they keep up with this, you will never see Tyrone owning another vehicle that was manufactured later than 2027. This kill switch he's talking about, we're going to hear from a mechanic, an excellent mechanic, a world-renowned mechanic who has a lot of reservations about this. And I'm also going to show you the vehicle that I'm going to purchase, and it will be with me till the remainder of my days. It may carry my casket in its bed.
Now, this isn't about protecting people. It's about controlling your every move, at least when you're in a vehicle. And it's something that the left and the federal government want you to kind of get used to. House Democrats and 19 Republicans voted against Thomas Massie's amendment that would defund a federal kill switch mandate, which means that all cars manufactured starting in 2026 will now have a way for authorities to monitor your driving and then cut power to your car.
Can you believe that? That is absolutely frightening. That some watcher somewhere is going to have the ultimate authority on a freedom that we as Americans have enjoyed since Ford started with the Model T. One of the unique things about this country is that we can travel across an entire continent without checkpoints or borders or showing our papers. But it seems like some people have a problem with that. Now, the whys around that subject for a different video, which we will do. But let's focus on what's technically taking place here. You will purchase a car. You'll go out there, spend your hard-earned money on a car. And not only does BMW want to charge you per month to activate the heated seats, but now we have the United States Congress interfering with our right to travel.
Oh, what could go wrong with that? Joining me now, Kentucky Congressman Thomas Massie. Congressman, now, I think, when some of us were driving, we needed to because we were necessary, essential employees, but we were driving during COVID and they didn't know we were necessary employees, maybe they would have hit the kill switch on us. Who knows?
Yeah. You know, people said I'm a conspiracy theorist for saying this is in the legislation, but I actually had to read the Democrats, the bill that they passed 2 years ago. They passed this in 2021 as part of a 1,039-page bill.
Now, that's interesting that they passed it in the midst, really, of the pandemic when a lot of liberties were under assault. Mind you, this is Thomas Massie, former Kentucky congressman. He was defeated, okay? They said he wasn't, MAGA enough. Sounds like he was on the right trail here with this legislation, right?
To require that your car can monitor your driving performance, and if it thinks you're not driving well, it can disable your vehicle. Imagine you're a mom with kids in the car, and you swerved for a deer, and then you pulled over for an emergency vehicle to go by, and you've only got one swerve left. I mean, how terrible, before it shuts you down and takes you to the side of the road.
At the risk of waxing conspiratorially, is this why we did Cash for Clunkers back in 2009? To get a lot of the older cars off of the road to limit people's alternatives. Also got a lot of the cars without computer technology off of the road. When Obama instituted that program back in 2009, took perfectly good cars and absolutely destroyed them. taking them out of commission. Is that why we did this, in preparation for something like this, to limit the availability of alternative vehicles without all this computer technology? And listen, guys, we had occasion to rent a Hyundai here lately. 2026 Hyundai, all right? I forget which model it was. I'm not into cars like that. But in any event, this thing has this automatic lane assist feature that, thank God, we were able to deactivate. Trying to drive with this car making some of its own decisions almost got me and my wife hit by a tractor trailer. All right. Now, I will say that there's a lane assist feature in a Volvo that we own that is much, much better. So I guess you get what you pay for. But still, the technology isn't there. And even if it is, we don't want to be in a position where we are abdicating our freedom to move about this country to machines or overlords. The other thing about it is this. Listen, if it is like a criminal out there, well, you can apprehend him in the ways that you've been doing it all this time, by just investigating and locating them and going after them. But this piece of legislation in Congress that was passed will give the authorities the ability to deactivate vehicles en masse. I'm not going for that. In a minute, I'm going to show you what I'm going to buy that is going to work all the way around that. But it's still going to have an issue, and I'll talk to you about that in a minute. For now, let's hear from an actual mechanic on what he thinks about this. Let's do that.
All right, Dad. It is called the kill switch.
Yep.
And everybody seems to be talking about it.
It's a big uproar right now, and it kind of needs to be honest with you. For those of you that don't know what it is, if you haven't heard, I mean, you know, it was a bill that was passed into law, the Infrastructure Investment and Jobs Act. It was passed into law in 2021. The section that we're really concerned about is Section 24220.
The Infrastructure Investment and Jobs Act. Look how they title these things. Who could be against that, right? But buried deep within the legislation is this provision that allows the government to take over your car and shut it down,
Which is the Advanced Impaired Driving Prevention Technology. Whew, that's a mouthful. Let me give you the crux of what it is. The vehicle itself is going to monitor the driver passively, so not going to connect anything to you, going to monitor the driver to be sure that you're not impaired, that you're safe to drive the vehicle.
I take great umbrage at that because I am really dedicated to being a designated driver. If I go out with folk, I'll say, hey, look, give me a Coca-Cola. I'm fine. All right. I drink at home, and, you know, maybe I have a cocktail once a week. Fine. All right. If you like to have more, knock yourself out. Just don't drive. And I always put myself up as the designated driver. Okay. I do not drink outside my home, and that is my choice. I think adults can make these decisions for themselves. They're trying to couch this kind of in, oh, well, it's going to prevent drunk driving. There aren't that many people in this country that are drunk driving. You don't handle a society in the way you handle a kindergarten class. Johnny's talking, so everybody's got to stay 5 minutes after. No, you don't do that.
It's also going to monitor your driving habits. It's going to, you know, what you're doing right now. And this is real. This is not something that potentially could happen. This is happening 100%. It's a law. I guess they're trying to do something about the law, maybe repeal. I don't know. Who knows? We don't get into that on this channel. But right now, as of today, it is a law, and it was supposed to take effect in 2024, according to my research, but the technology isn't there. The manufacturer said, can't do it. So now it's going to be in 2027, which we're in the middle of 2026 right now. The cars are already being built. Somehow they're building the technology into these vehicles to monitor the driver and to, you know, potentially shut the vehicle. Here's the kicker. Here's what it can do. It monitors the driver. And I've seen a lot of comments where people say, well, yeah, I just won't let my car start. No. It's going to monitor you when you get in the car. This is what the rules really aren't there, just so you know. The rules really aren't there. What the law says is we need to monitor the driver for impairment, and then we need to take actions for that, limit their driving, not allow them to drive, whatever. But the specific rules aren't really made yet, and that's the National Highway Traffic and Safety Administration evidently have to come up with those. Right now, what is supposed to happen is the vehicle monitors the driver and make sure the driver's not impaired. That's when you get in the vehicle to start it, so it could potentially, yes, make you not be able to start your vehicle. You could be driving your vehicle, and it decides, yeah, they're impaired, right? And limit the vehicle's operation, so make you go slower, right? Make you not be able to accelerate. Who knows? Again, the rule's not there.
What it's going to probably consist of, and I'll let him continue because he's got some great points. And I also want to show you what vehicle I'm going to be driving for the duration. What it's probably going to consist of is you'll have a certain amount of non-conformances you can commit in a certain amount of time. So let's say you veer off onto the rumble strip on the shoulder where it goes, where you do that. Okay, you do that 3 times in 15 minutes, your vehicle shuts. It's going to be set up like that.
Or could potentially shut the vehicle off while you're driving it. Now, that's going to be one that's a big one, obviously. They're not just going to, I would say, they're not just going to shut the car off in the middle of the road, right? I mean, that's a massive safety thing. Nobody's going to do that. But how much time are they going to give you to get over? How much time are they going to get you to get off the road and safe? Is it going to give you a warning? How's it going to give you the warning? You're going to have a countdown timer? I mean, that could be more potential damage, and safety than impaired driving in a lot of cases.
And is this going to be standardized? Or is it going to be that I hop in a Hyundai and it does one thing, then I hop in a Volvo and it does something else?
What if I've said this before, what if you're in the left lane in 6-lane traffic in Atlanta, and this thing tells you the car's going to shut off in 30 seconds? For those of you who've never been there, you ain't getting over 6 lanes of traffic in Atlanta, downtown traffic, in 30 seconds. So and hey, let me make sure I say this, because I want everybody to understand this. I'm against drunk driving. I'm against impaired driving, 100%. We could go into stories about this that affect our family. I'm against it. I believe there should be massive ramifications, massive consequences. I just feel like the technology is not there. The rules are not there. They're shoving this thing into these cars. And yeah, I know people are going to say, I'll just disable it. That's just not a thing. I know people think that it's just easy to disconnect something. That's just not a thing that's going to be able to happen. It's not going to be able. You can just disconnect something and it not do this. So this is something that we're
All right, so he's right about that. You're not going to disconnect this thing because not only is it probably going to be connected into other systems and the car will recognize if it's been disconnected and it won't activate at all. It's also probably going to void warranties if you do that. It'll probably somehow notify your insurance company. Okay, so they've thought of all that. The only solution here is to say, you know what? To hell with the new cars, basically. Let me show you what I'm going to go ahead and get here. I'm going to get me a 2015 Toyota Tacoma. I think you can see it down here. Look, if it's good enough for the Taliban, it's good enough for Tyrone to ride around America in, right? This truck, it's called a Helix in other areas of the world. Look, basic truck, okay, that you can still fix. I've put my hands on vehicles. I used to change my oil all the time. I've changed the radiator in my old Acura, okay, and the car worked for many years after that, no problems. And it has a lack of technology, let's just say. Okay, I'm looking for something that, first of all, it's a Toyota, so you could conceivably keep this on the road for many years, right? Something that you can, again, easily fix. Listen, guys, yeah, this is probably going to be my everyday drive. It's definitely not going to be, I'm going to show up. Okay, I'm, running for lieutenant governor. We run a financial services business also. Listen, I'm showing up in my 2015 Toyota Tacoma. All right? Because I'm not willing to abdicate my freedom. I'm certainly not willing to introduce technology that's going to make me and my family less safe. Now, you might say, Tyrone, I'm not with the Tacoma. This is a bridge too far for me. But here's one that's been equipped for, this is the U.S. military here. riding around in a Tacoma somewhere on Earth. And you see if it's trusted by them. Hey, look, at me putting stuff from Home Depot in it or groceries, it's going to work just fine. So I would highly recommend you look into this, and probably if you don't like it, you're going to have to find a vehicle that you do like that was manufactured before this mandate. The only problem, and I will leave you with this, is that if all of the vehicles on the highway get shut down, or 95% of them, then me and my Toyota Tacoma will be stuck in the mother of all traffic jams.